Good afternoon to you all from Scotland, but as we are coming together from many parts of the world, thanks to the wonders of virtual connectivity, good time zone to each and every one of you. At the outset, can I say how thrilled I am to have this opportunity to spend some time with you and to be able to thank each of you for your service to Rotary. By now, it is common knowledge that our theme, and I stress our theme, not my theme for next Rotary year, is create hope in the world. My brief today is to share a little of my vision, and in doing so, imagine a future creating hope in the world. So, if we are to create hope in the world going forward at every level, there are many things we must do, including, I believe, the creation of a more peaceful and a more loving world. Those of you who heard my address at the International Assembly in January, and also in Melbourne at the recent International Convention, will have heard me reference the importance of Rotary's role in peace building. And that is a major part of my vision for next year. And to be fair, it has always been so and will always remain a major part of my personal vision. And it is on that topic I would like to focus my remarks today. We are, as we have already been told, in a time of great turmoil in the world. Probably the greatest time of turmoil I have seen in my 39 years in Rotary. A time where Rotary's historic commitment to building and fostering peace is being challenged like never before. And that is why I'm convinced we need a renewed focus on peace within Rotary. Peace is the soil where hope takes root. And it's something that is at the forefront of my mind just now, and I am sure it is on your minds too. Like me, you must continue to be horrified by the terrible news coming out of Eastern Europe regarding the brutal war being waged by Russia on Ukraine and the ramifications of such an outrage. What has society become that sees frightened, defenseless children cowering in dark, dank corners of a Kyiv rugby station while the horrors of war play out above them? Just how broken is our world that a children's and maternity hospital can see bombs rain down on it from the sky with the loss of so many innocent lives, as we saw in Mariupol, and as we are seeing continue in cities across that proud and beautiful country. And then we saw pictures of bodies, dead bodies, with their hands tied behind their backs, cast aside like garbage at the side of the street in the city of Bucha. The word genocide has been used, and I don't believe that to be too strong a description of what we are witnessing at present in that proud and beautiful country. We live in a time of unprecedented technological advances, but sadly, we also live in a time of destruction and human suffering. And as we are seeing day after day, week after week, month after month, not only in Eastern Europe, but in many other parts of our world, peace is such a fragile construct. Rotary, with all its global reach, must help the world live together in peace and friendship and love if we're to leave a proper legacy for our children and our children's children. Humanity has grown up scientifically and technologically. Now we need to grow up even more by pointing the whole human race beyond the petty divisions of nepotism, race, and creed. Too many people in this world have experienced the atrocities of war and of terrorism. Thankfully, as members of Rotary, we are committed to working for peace And never forget, peace is more, so much more than the absence of war or armed conflict. Peace is freedom. Peace is healthy children and adults. Peace is clean water and sufficient food. Peace is education, human rights, dignity, clothing, housing, and concern for mankind. But most of all, peace is love. The late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was quoted earlier in this meeting, once said, and I quote, "We must discover the power of love, the redemptive power of love. And when we discover that, we will be able to make of this old world a new world. For love is the way." And you know, love is the way. Actually, ultimately, love is the only way, because love can help and heal when nothing else can. Love can lift up and liberate when nothing else will. Love can lead and guide us along the way beyond our unenlightened self-interest and beyond our factions and divisions, because love can show us the way to be both human and humane. But let me offer a caveat at this stage. I want to make it clear that when I use the word love, I do so in a very specific sense. I'm not speaking of love in a sentimental or a sweet or a soft sense. I'm speaking of love in the sense of love as an unselfish love, a sacrificial love, a way of love that seeks the good and the welfare and the well-being of others, as well as oneself. The way of love spoken by Dr. King in the quote I just used is the way to human civilization and life. Whereas the slaves of America's antebellum South used to say, there will be plenty good room, plenty good room, plenty good room for all. Now, the obvious question, and the one you are probably asking right now as you sit there is, could it work? Could it work, not simply in theory, but could it work in the factories and on the assembly lines? Could it work in the corporate boardroom? Could it work in the councils of politics? Could it work in the world, the hard, rough, tough world? Well, it's not easy, but this way of love is the only thing that has ever worked for human progress and human civilization, and for the good and the welfare and the well-being of the entire human family. Consider the alternative. I happen to believe that the opposite of love is not hate, but is selfishness, self-centeredness. History has shown time and time again that selfishness and self-centeredness does not work. It has never worked, and it never will. Unselfish, sacrificial love is the only way that can work. And if you don't believe me, just stop, and to use a word we have heard a lot in Rotary over the last 12 months, imagine. Imagine a world where love is the way. Imagine homes and families where love is the way. Imagine neighborhoods and communities where love is the way. Imagine business and commerce where love is the way. Imagine governments and nations where love is the way. Where love is the way, then no child will go to bed hungry in this world ever again. Where love is the way, justice will flow like a mighty river. Where love is the way, poverty will become history. And where love is the way, there is room, plenty of room for everyone. Because where love is the way, where peace is the way, we actually treat each other like we are family. And what better aspirations could we as Rotarians have? What greater hope could we as Rotarians create in the world than a sense of family and love and peace? It's all about caring. We need to care for each other, because only by caring for each other can we begin to create hope in the world. Ultimately, though, all the elements of peace to which I have already referred come back to the individual. And unless we are at peace with ourselves, we will never see peace in our world. Although things have improved immeasurably over the past few years, the topic of mental health remains something of a taboo. And that is why we are making mental health a focus during 2023-24. I was staggered to learn that worldwide more than 800,000 people take their own life every year, more than 2,000 every day. Just think of that. In the course of this 90-minute meeting, more than 135 people will die from suicide. More than 135 families will be torn apart. Countless people will be left behind to spend a lifetime asking, why? What more could I have done to help? This is another pandemic, and we need to make inroads into it, and we need to start now. Rotary has played a massive part in navigating the world through and out of one pandemic. Well, I'm bold enough to dream that we can help navigate our way through the hidden pandemic that is mental health. But I cannot do it alone. It is an important task. It is a big ask. And I hope I can count on each and every one of you to join me in fulfilling my dream that Rotary can help in this space. We have so much to gain by helping each other address mental health and wellness more openly as we come out of the coronavirus pandemic that forced many to experience hardship and isolation. So many of us and the people we serve are experiencing lasting challenges to our emotional well-being that we cannot handle alone. As Rotary members, we have a unique ability to reach out to people who may have no other access to this kind of care. And then as an organisation built on friendship and service, we can help guide our fellow Rotary members in a trusting and a caring manner. All of us can serve our communities by engaging openly in discussions about mental health and wellness, and by establishing a solid foundation for preventive and interventional measures in our respective areas. I have already seen in my travels around the Rotary world that these conversations foster connection and safety between us. They can help build stronger interpersonal relationships while supporting the well-being of the communities we serve. So as President, I'm asking you to help Rotary make progress towards three critical goals. One, to erase the stigma associated with discussions of emotional well-being. Two, to raise awareness of mental health needs. And three, to improve access to mental health services. I'm not going to tell you how to achieve these goals. Rather, I'm going to invite you to think of ways you can make a difference through your service projects, in your clubs, and in your day-to-day interactions with fellow Rotary members and with your community. Throughout the year, I will be relying on the leadership of the Rotary Action Group on Mental Health Initiatives to help show you how you can do more, learn from each other, and begin to create a grassroots movement within Rotary to make mental health wellness a priority, not just next year, but into the future as well. And as of early next month, Rotary Showcase will offer a forum for you to share how your club's service projects are raising awareness about mental health and helping communities access needed services. Challenges around mental illness and emotional health affect us all. And research shows that performing acts of kindness is the single most effective way to improve your mood over the long term. Rotary is uniquely positioned to make a global impact on this effort. And I hope you will join me in showing this new level of care to each other and to ourselves. So, my friends, these are just some of my thoughts, my aspirations, my hopes, as we imagine a future creating hope in the world. In sharing them, I hope you will realize how closely they align with our vision statement, the guiding star that we should all follow. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in our selves. I'm conscious that time is always the great enemy on occasions like this, and I fear I may have used up all my time and more. In closing, I wish you well over the next 12 months. I sincerely hope to meet as many of you as possible during that time on a face-to-face basis and not simply on a computer screen. Hopefully, you will all be in Singapore next May for the RI convention, where we will be sharing hope with the world. Each and every one of you is a credit to the badge you wear, and I am proud, very proud, to belong to the same organization as you. Thank you very much.